That is a conversation that's going to take the back end of the Metropol review this morning. My name is Elijah Charles. Guess what? Just like I keep on saying, we are live on Facebook and YouTube. Hashtag BusinessIM. Get talking to us. It's a Monday morning. Stephanie Wasso is finally ready. Good. Stephanie, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm all right. How was your weekend?
My weekend was good. Quite just there. I want to say chilled, but
yeah, that's not a good term. That's not a business term.
okay, relaxing.
Relaxing.
Yeah,
I see. I see.
I'm learning.
How's
yours?
The information is coming in. Good. All right. Mine was fine. Mine was fine.
Yeah?
Mine was fine.
Okay.
Spent the whole weekend seated editing. You ever looked at a screen? You know, it's actually not advised that your eyes are on the screen throughout.
True.
Actually, your phone, if you can actually limit looking at your phone to 30 minutes a day, then your eyesight will be good.
But do you see how low my brightness is? It's quite low.
Doesn't matter.
I'm really trying to.
Yeah, we're talking about screen time here.
It's okay.
Anyway.
It's okay. Yes, I want us to do something different today because it's Monday. So I want us to recap what happened during the weekend.
That's fine.
Yes.
Anyway, can I tell you the first thing?
Sure? Yes?
Yeah, can I tell you the first thing?
I feel like I have it, but sure.
Yeah, just hold on, hold on. I'm going to tell you the shortest joke in the world today.
Okay.
You guys, are you listening? Yeah, Richie is not listening. It's a two-word joke. You guys are listening, huh? I'm going to tell you the shortest joke in the world today. And you're going to laugh. Stephanie, you ready?
Okay, I better laugh.
Yeah, it's the biggest joke of your life. Manchester United. Yeah, you're not laughing. Today, could you get that joke? The biggest joke, the shortest joke in the world today. You want to hear it? Manchester United.
No. No. It's not coming.
Okay, can I make it better?
Okay, sure.
Okay.
I feel like if you explain it, it won't be.
No, I won't explain it. I will tell it differently.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Okay, I'm reading. Stephanie, I'm reading.
Okay.
Yeah, just you gotta pardon me.
Read.
Yeah, all right.
Yes.
Here we go. All right. Man City pressuring attack. Okay. Good. Chelsea spreading attack. Okay. Newcastle counter attack. Manchester United heart attack.
Okay, now. Can I get it?
You get it?
Yes. Heart attack.
Okay, Stephanie, let me just, since I can see sports there,
Yeah.
let me just tell you how bad Manchester United is.
Sure, that's fine.
There's something we call relegation, Stephanie. Relegation is when you cannot hit 30 points a season. And so you find yourself below 30 points, you pretty much have to go.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Actually below 40, because we have 38 games. 38 games times 3, you have 111 points up for grabs, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if you get below 40, that pretty much means you're really underperforming.
Yeah.
Now, there's a team called Liverpool, okay?
Yeah.
And then the mighty Arsenal.
Yes, the mighty.
At 15 points. It's not so bad, isn't it?
Not so bad.
But now let me tell you where Manchester United is.
Where is
You
it?
want to hear?
Yeah. Where is it?
It's at a decimal 8 points. That is negative 16 to the top. Now, this is where the joke comes in.
Okay.
Only 2 points to drop to relegation zone.
Wow.
And guess who they have next?
Who?
Liverpool.
Oh. I'm sure happy about this.
Yeah, I am so happy. Anyway, can we recap the weekend?
We can recap
All right,
the weekend.
Stephanie.
Yes, so the IAAF in Doha concluded yesterday. I think yesterday. It's been happening during
It's been happening.
It's been happening. So we are number 2 in the
general standings.
We are number 2, which is quite good. Yeah. So this is Timothy Cheriot, hashtag Kenya goal 1500 meter. He gave us a goal to become number 1. So this is a good thing. We also had Helen Obiri, yes.
Oh yeah, my clansmate.
Yeah. Your classmate?
Yeah, my clansmate.
Your classmate?
My clansman.
Oh, clans.
Yeah.
I'm hearing
Here's the thing. Can I tell you something though?
Your classmate?
My clansman. I watched, when I was doing internship at the Kenya News Agency, KNA, if you remember, now it's dead. I actually watched her first race, okay, at Gusii Stadium.
But look at her now.
Look at her now. I mean,
Defending 5,000 meter race title in Doha.
I tell you. I mean, I'm proud.
Very proud. We are proud.
Yeah, we're proud people,
proud.
aren't we?
Proud.
Have you seen the pictures trending of Kenyans walking past other countries where guys are just lying down and Kenyans are like, we don't feel it. I mean, what's next?
We really don't.
Yeah?
We really don't. Yes, yes, yes. So I heard something about that. So during the weekend, this happened.
Yeah, at Sambo.
Yes. So there's a track that
called me for a party.
Accident.
Yeah.
Maybe probably he was calling you for this.
Yeah,
probably
he
got
was.
the beer from here.
Yeah, it comes from Orisambo. I think he was calling me for that party.
From this, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this happened, Maji Fest, that's what people are calling it. Total Oktoberfest. You know, just people are just celebrating. People are just, Kenyans love such things.
Yeah, that's not so good though. Somebody lost their business, isn't it?
Imagine.
But here's the thing. Actually, now let me tell you the spectacle. The guys who were first to the scene stole a couple of crates, and guess what? They started selling it in traffic.
They did. They actually did.
Guys were buying.
Easy money.
100 shillings.
Business.
100 shillings. 100 shillings, and everybody was actually going for it.
This is when people are saying the gym works. Look at this guy carrying a crate, one hand.
I know.
Look at this guy, the Glover guy.
Oh my God!
He couldn't do anything.
As a delivery guy.
He couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
You know, you have to deliver.
Yeah, you have to deliver.
You have to watch.
And
Like, this is the hardest thing ever.
That's I think Glover is watching, aren't they? We've actually had the director here.
Yes, we did.
In the studio.
We did. So
I think that was a late delivery.
You know, you can't really.
I was like, do I go? Do I deliver? You know how Glover it is. Yeah. Once your package arrives late, then you get some discount out of the delivery, isn't it? Yes. Think about that. That girl was like, okay, do I go? Here's the thing. I want to watch, but if I watch, I'm going to take that beer. Yeah. If I take that beer, my speed will be slow.
Actually, people are saying that Glover should name him the employee of the month because of
he didn't touch.
He didn't touch. He was tempted, but he didn't do anything.
Yeah, he didn't touch.
He didn't do anything, yes.
Pretty much.
Yes. So it's been raining over the weekend quite heavily.
Oh, yeah.
Yesterday.
I didn't, at our place it didn't rain over the weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
So maybe you can't lie.
No, I'm not lying. I'm telling you the truth.
I feel like I spent the weekend there, but it's fine.
No.
Not your house. Not your house.
No, that's fine. No, Stephanie, that's fine. You could spend.
But
professionally, we talk business. Anyway,
we do. So here we can see this is recklessness. There's a video of a truck that is going through. They think they can make it through the water, but it really can't.
Let's have a look at that.
Yes, here we go. And it's actually.
Oh yeah, it was. Oh my God.
And there are a couple of videos. There are very many videos. I don't know if people think that they
can actually push through water.
No, which is.
You gotta be smart.
You have to be smart.
Yeah.
And you can't get out.
You can't get out because if you get out, you'll be swept away.
Definitely, if the car is being swept away, you really
then
can't
you.
get out.
Yeah.
So I think people should just,
Yeah, look at how
trying to get out.
Those two people looking now.
Yes. So last tweet, Monday motivation. Rain is grace, rain is the sky descending to the earth. Without rain, there will be no life.
That's a beautiful picture. That's the Kenya Med Department.
Yes.
Guess what? Do you know that we can sue them?
We can.
You can sue.
We can.
If they tell you it's going to rain today, Stephanie, and then you put on your boots and then your jacket, and then the sun is up by 10, you can actually go to court. Yeah, do you know that?
You can.
Yeah?
You can.
Stephanie, that's a chance for us to make money, and I don't think we're utilizing it. Because our Met Department is not that accurate, I'm telling you. Our weather money is not that accurate.
Yeah.
Do you think we should use it?
We can.
You can?
We can.
All right, that's fine. Can't wait for it.
We can. Now back to the roads. What time is it?
It's actually around 7:17 this morning.
7:17. So let's see how traffic is looking like. Langata Road, a lot of traffic around that area from way before Nairobi Animal Orphanage. Going on to Wilson Airport, Bagathi Road, there's a lot of traffic. Going to Kenyatta National Hospital, Southern Bypass is very clear. Imara Daima, here we go. It's loading. Traffic is,
as usual.
As usual, yes.
As usual.
There's a lot of traffic. Mombasa Road from Bellevue Estate, there's a bit of traffic, but once you get to Nyayo Stadium, that's where it's starting to build up. Yes, let's go to Wayakiwe. Actually, over the weekend, I did some traveling. I went to the Digwa. I really actually went to the Digwa.
Say that again?
The Digwa. I went to the Digwa, Simba.
All right, Stephanie.
It's actually a pretty busy road.
Yeah.
It's a pretty busy road.
Yeah.
There are some developments. There's Juakali, Timbers, so many clubs. It's actually very developed. Can I call it a town?
Yeah, well, you're getting no clubs, Stephanie.
No.
That's fine, you can say.
Like I said, I was traveling.
Consumer journalism. You tell us the prices up here.
No.
Yeah?
I actually didn't. I didn't go into that club. I really didn't. But anyway, so I went to the Digwa. I also used Wayakiwe, which is quite hectic.
It's quite hectic,
I was
especially
there
over the
yesterday.
weekend.
Yeah, on a Sunday.
On a Sunday.
Other roads are very clear.
But other than Wayakiwe. And I tend to
was
think that actually guys now, Wayakiwe could be fine over the week.
Over the week.
Over the week.
Yeah.
But now when guys decide to take their cars out over the weekend, that's when the traffic starts.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I experienced that.
Yeah.
Wayakiwe, there's a bit of traffic from Nairobi School all the way to Chiroma Roundabout. Clears up a bit, but once you get to Nairobi National Museum,
that's when the drama starts, isn't it?
It actually is, yeah, there's a bit of traffic building up around that area. Let's go to Thika Road. I haven't used Thika Road in such a long time. Like, I'm really avoiding to use Thika Road.
Why are you avoiding to use Thika Road?
I know, I'm just scared.
It's a super highway. No, there's no traffic along Thika Road.
Really?
Yeah, there's no traffic along Thika
Simba,
Road.
when was the last time you used Thika Road?
Was it over, what Sunday? Yeah.
You just said you spent your weekend sitting, editing.
That's fine. I was doing a delivery and then came back. It'll take you, from my place to
Like
Thika
Simba,
Road,
like-
it'll take you 25 minutes.
I said,
Yeah.
I don't believe you know
Get to Outer Ring, you know how you do. Get from Southern Airport Estate, get to the former Taj Mall, all right?
Yeah.
Roundabout area, Exchange, call it Exchange. Get to Outer Ring, drive straight ahead, and then get to Thika Road. And then after that, take your right turn at Allsops. There's a bit of traffic around that area though, yeah, but not so much.
Okay. So
Got the map of Nairobi in my hand.
I can see. Thika Road traffic starting from Gumba Estate all the way to Pangani. Muranga Road clears up, but once you get to Blue Roundabout, there's a bit of traffic building up around that area.
Much, isn't it, Stephanie?
Yes.
Let's just go to social media and talk about this couple ones or twos, and after that, take a short break, isn't it?
For sure.
All right.
Here we go. Yes. From Limuru down St. Paul's Uni, approach with caution and overturned truck. Yes, caution just after Naivasha Road, junction Udhiru on Wayakiwe. Outbound, there's a flooded about 20-meter section.
Yeah, there's a flood there, isn't it? About 20 meters section.
Yeah, actually, half of where Wayakiwe is flooded.
Yeah, because they're trying to construct it.
Yeah,
a
so
lot of
the
sections
tunnels,
the tunnels are full, and then the places where water pretty much holds. I don't think they expected it to rain.
Yeah.
During this time they constructed
no one did.
Yeah.
No one did.
But I love the rain, Stephanie. I love me some rain. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
2 accidents between Resamba and Githurai inbound and outbound. Outbound very bad. Cops on site. Wow.
Oh, so bad, isn't it?
Yes.
Hope it's not another beer truck in the morning when people won't go to work.
And this is like yesterday night. Okay. That's
All right. That's pretty much it.
Yes.
All right. Stephanie, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, well, we take a short break. Once we come back, your agro-commodities market.
It's agriculture that supplies food for the masses as well as raw material for agro-based industries. But what does it really take to grow the crops or rear those animals? And how do you ensure produce becomes profit? Journey with me, Fred Makori, on my farm visits.
And this is the Farm Journal.
And my colleague Victoria Amunga,
kwa kilo nausaga 200,
as she brings to you the market opportunities. And together, we take you through the journey of farming for profit.
Hi guys.
it take to run a business that succeeds?
What does an entrepreneur need to do for his business to scale up and outgrow his dreams?
What does a CEO need to know to make a decision?
What exactly makes the stocks move up and down?
Strategy, insights, innovation, growth, leadership, analysis. In an economy that's fast-moving, we are ahead of the game. Armed with data and analysis, we delve deep into the numbers that count, with analysis on key sector and company performance. Join me, Terry and Chebet, on the first of its kind in East Africa, a show that unpacks industries, speaks to business leaders, decision makers, the movers and shakers who steer our economy. The Capital Point, at this time only on Metropol TV.
In journalism training, only 5 viewpoints matter for a proper story. My experience as a business journalist has, however, taught me that there is more. So now I understand that before I walk into that interview, I have to look for the hidden. So for me, what sticks is the story behind the story. What would you say is that unique, very unique selling aspect that you can guarantee I will not find anywhere else?
Good question.
My name is Ingrid Nantege, and this is Metropol Television.
You are watching Metropol Television. Yes, where we are live on Facebook, YouTube. Our Twitter hashtag is #business. Sorry. Now, you do know that the rains have actually started. We don't know where to place them because we've actually not got an official announcement from the meteorological department. Good. Now, if you actually know exactly what's happening, then some farmers are actually going to benefit this time round, isn't it? Because it's raining, and that's a good thing. All right. Now, let's therefore look at our agri-commodities prices in the major markets this morning as we start Yomade. I hope it rained at your place, and that means that produce is actually going to be good because we are talking about a reduction of our inflation rate this month. That's year on to 3.3%. That's really good. And if you also look at food inflation, we're talking about 7.9, we're down at a proper level. So what that means is that you should actually be buying your agro commodities prices at a good price, isn't it? Your tomatoes, your carrots, cabbages and carrots. It's up to you really figure out. Good morning. My name is Elijah Charles Kiag. These are your agro commodities prices.
The work that goes into preparation of a business story is special. It demands detail without waver.
The SME contribution to the Kenyan economy is immense. Data, more data, right? According to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, nearly 400,000 SMEs. And how many died? 2.2 million? We have it.
Now to give you more perspective
on the state of SMEs in the country, we're joined live
in 3, 2,
on 1, we're live. SME contribution to the Kenyan economy has immensely grown from 13% in 1993 to nearly 30% in the year 2018, according to the Central Bank of Kenya. Now, in a 2016 survey done by the Kenya National
My name is Ndiro Ganga, and this is Metropol TV.
Why is it important to start your business defeat? Because business is demanding. Your body needs to be ready. Successful business persons always seek to help us before the money. So join me, Douglas Karanga, on Shape Up every day at 6 a.m. on Metropol TV.
From street to street. Tunaangazia biashara kadha wa kadha ambazo kwa na as little as 5,000 shillings unaweza anzisha biashara yako na igrow. And from these businesses, you can get an idea or two on how to boost your business. Haya basi, ishakuwa kipindi ni The Hustle na mi ni Tabitha Muthoni ndani ya Metropol TV.
There's no news story that is in touch with the needs of the audience like a business news story. Therefore, as a business anchor, it is in my mandate to understand the source of the story and, most importantly, consequences of the story. Which means before I take that script into my hands, I have to be close to the story. I have to experience the story. Or simply, I have to live the story.
It is Friday, the 5th of July 2019. It's 1 p.m. So welcome to Metropol News at 1.
My name is Nina Shaban.
When you hear the word business, what comes to mind? Skyscrapers, fast-moving economy, technology and innovation, dollar versus the shilling exchange rate, financial markets, or better still, the US versus China trade war? Is there a magic bullet that can spark Kenya into economic growth? How about this? How is Africa the next economic frontier? What does that even mean? Questions that keep popping up. Is foreign aid helping Africa develop, or rather is it stagnating it? Does good politics translate into economic development? Well, on Metropol Debrief, we break down business, telling you why it matters and showing you how and when it affects your bottom line. This and much more on the new season of Metropol Debrief at 8 p.m. where we're bold and balanced.
In journalism training, only 5 viewpoints matter for a proper story. My experience as a business journalist has, however, taught me that there is more. So now I understand that before I walk into that interview, I have to look for the hidden. So for me, what sticks is the story behind the story.
What would you say is that unique, very unique selling aspect that you can guarantee I will not find anywhere else?
Good question.
My name is Ingrid Nantege, and this is Metropol Television.
Hi guys. What does it take to run a business that succeeds?
What does an entrepreneur need to do for his business to scale up and outgrow his dreams?
What does a CEO need to know to make a decision?
What exactly makes the stocks move up and down?
Strategy, insights, innovation, growth, leadership, analysis. In an economy that's fast-moving, we are ahead of the game. Armed with data and analysis, we delve deep into the numbers that count, with analysis on key sector and company performance. Join me, Terry Ann Chebet, on the first of its kind in East Africa, a show that unpacks industries, speaks to business leaders, decision makers, the movers and shakers who steer our economy. The Capital Point, at this time only on Metropol TV.
It's agriculture that supplies food for the masses as well as raw material for agro-based industries. But what does it really take to grow the crops or rear those animals? And how do you ensure produce becomes profit? Journey with me, Fred Makori, on my farm visits.
And this is the Farm Journal.
And my colleague Victoria Amunga,
kwa kilo nausaga 200,
as she brings to you the market opportunities. And together we take you through the journey of farming for profit.
Right, the day starts with Collins this morning. Collins, good morning.
Good morning.
I mean, it's raining in Kenya.
I got a call from this.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate, isn't it? It's raining, that's a good thing.
It's a good thing, but we are wasting the water.
We're wasting the water, as always. Nobody's talking about it, isn't it?
No one is talking about
it.
it.
The Met Department usually tells us, well, we'll tell you when it's supposed to rain, but I don't think we got that call. And it's actually possible for us to sue.
We should not.
Yeah, it's actually possible. Do you know that it's possible?
Yeah, it's possible.
Yes.
I mean, that is their role to advise us, but they didn't. Anyway, I mean, they have a lot of things that they can argue in court with regards to them not telling us in advance.
Yes.
Things like act of God. Act of God is unforeseeable. Things that
we actually didn't see it.
We didn't see it coming.
Regardless of what our pattern is. It is October, it's raining, that's a good thing.
But we need to harvest the water.
We need to harvest the water, isn't it?
We need to harvest
Think
the water.
about that. All right, Collins, there's a lot that we have to go through this morning. But of key focus this morning, Collins, is our debt. Stands there, ends there this morning. And it's a good thing that we are starting with it this Monday, because therefore we have to tell people on exactly what's happening in this country as we know of it. Now, let's break it into two issues. Now, we do know the World Bank is the one that actually is the top watchdog of countries' economy, and especially in Africa. They really go heavy when it comes to talking to us about what our economy should look like. Good. Now, they're saying it is concerned about debt management. For them, it's not about the debt, it's about debt management. And they're saying, look, that it's not only in Kenya, they're talking about sub-Saharan African countries, and Kenya is among the list. Ghana is there, Nigeria is there as well. We just pretty much have to go look at the report that was released last Friday, and then after that you can actually see where the concern is. But Collins,
yeah,
this is not the first time. Just the other day, we did see the Vice President, World Bank, come to Kenya and say that, look, our debt is not at a tipping point. For him, it could get to a tipping point. And this just came the other day when they gave us 75 billion US dollars for us to supplement our budget, which we have to pay. That's fine. Nobody's talking about that 75 B. We seem to be talking about what we're going to talk about next. Did you believe, Collins, that at this point, the last time we had the official numbers, we're talking about 5.6 trillion shillings as our public debt? Do you think that we are actually there?
I believe now it's at 7 trillion.
Yes.
A lot of people have come to advise us about our debt, but normally they've not been able to tell us the truth.
Yes.
For instance, I think the IMF president was here. Now the vice president of World Bank was equally here, and they all commented about our borrowing, but they were not really clear on regards to advising us, telling us you're on a bad trajectory. They kept saying, if you continue like this, you're not headed the right way. But now they've said in Sub-Saharan Africa. Allow me just to comment about the issue of Sub-Saharan Africa.
Yes.
I mean, it's about the leadership of those places. I think there's a lot of selfishness and greed with regards to these developing countries.
Yes.
They really want to be developed, but they don't have a clear roadmap to be developed. They think they can just rush themselves into development by just incessant borrowing and all that, and investing in projects that don't make sense at the end of the day. For instance, even back here in Kenya, we've been investing in grandiose projects that we take time to see the results. For instance, we invested in Aurora and Kimore Dam, so the kind of monies that went to that in the budgeting. But now we are forced to cancel one that already we've paid the contractors. I expect the contractors to move to court to sue us, and we'll be forced to pay them compensation again.
Within law, isn't it?
Within law, totally.
Some law that we created.
This is totally within the legal framework.
Yes.
I mean, we are not talking about things outside the legal framework.
Yes.
And so these are things that we've done knowingly, and the president has advisors who have advised him to cancel those projects, knowing that we are still going to pay those people, knowing that we've paid them and they've not been able to do anything on the ground. And we don't have a recourse mechanism to go to court and say, okay, we did this and these guys have not done this. I mean, they had a time period for their contract, and so they're going to rely on that time period, say there is frustration of their contract, and that's why they've not been able to perform their end of the bargain.
Yes.
But then holistically talking about it, I mean, our debt management is wanting.
Is actually wanting, isn't it? Okay, let's talk about it. Then why is the World Bank, Collins, this morning not actually telling us exactly where the problem is? Because if you look at the interest that we're paying to the people that we owe, 87.7, all of it is going to China.
True.
Which therefore begs the question this morning, are we running to the easily available options regardless? Like China doesn't care.
True.
They'll give us the money, isn't it? But at the end of the day, they'll come for it. Are we now at a position where if things don't go right, China is taking over?
We are desperate, and when you're desperate, the only people we can run to is China. China don't care whether they've given us a lot, or whether what they've given us is sufficient, or whether we are in a crisis. They don't care.
Yes.
For them, what they care is how they are going to be a superpower, and that is through investing in these countries that are struggling.
Yes.
We are facing a time where I'm sure, in the fullness of time, we are going to go Sri Lanka way, where China is going to come and claim parts of this country. And it will be rightfully theirs. Even under the law, it will be rightfully theirs, because we've failed to perform part of our bargain.
Yes.
I think sometime the contract of Kenya and SGR, the issue Kenya with China with regards to SGR, there's a lot of things in the media with regards to us being unable to pay the loan to, I've forgotten the name of the bank, to do that. And really, I want to blame the Treasury because of lack of access to information. That is a constitutional entitlement for citizens. I mean, when you're processing these loans, you need to publish them on your website. You need to inform citizens and public participation at large on how you intend to even service some of these loans that you're asking for. Now I'm told that they are now they're consulting about acquiring another sovereign bond to facilitate and to pay for debts that are maturing at this time. By 2026, I'm sure a lot of loans will have matured. There are some that are maturing in 2024, 2022, and 2025.
Yes.
I mean, and we are still not able to have an economy that is so strong enough to be able to pay back these loans. I mean, I'm sure we are facing a time where we don't want to be here.
That we pretty much don't want to be here, and that's the question this morning. How much, therefore, Collins, do you blame? Because World Bank is telling us, look, you can get your loans, that's fine, but the only thing that they're worried about is that here, our debt management actually goes up. Let's start with the SGR.
True.
This doesn't go far. Everybody knows that we took a loan from China, and we bought the Chinese here, whether that was part of the bargain deal for us to get it cheaper, that's fine. We don't want to get into that. And then after that, they gave us SGR. But as you know of it, we are actually taking out 7 billion shillings from our pocket at every financial year, Collins, to get SGR rolling. That means that we actually been running losses, but we do expect that SGR would have paid these loans by itself, or even at the worst, break even. We are not there yet, Collins.
And they said by now we should have broken even.
But we're not there.
The truth of the matter is, even by 2022, I'm sure we won't have broken even yet.
Yes.
Because no one knows the details to this, how this loan was acquired. No one knows what was entailed in this contract. That's why I'm saying, really, it boils down to access to information and public participation.
Yes.
If people are not aware of, you hide under privilege to hide some other matters with regards to the loaning. We're saying other matters we cannot release to the public because we are bound by privilege not to tell citizens what this is about. And we're running in a very sloppy ground. You've talked about World Bank not telling us the truth. I mean, they have done much that they can do. No one can stop us from borrowing. I mean, even China has loans, I'm sure. All countries require borrowing. But then how do you manage the debt that you have? And that's what they have advised us about. They've told us what you are moving on, that trajectory you're proceeding on is very dangerous.
Yes.
And that is welcome. But now it's upon our leaders to implement what we've been told. And I've been of this idea that I think we are not intentional about our economy and about our borrowing. The president is an economist, but you don't see that coming out.
We don't see that coming out.
We have a caretaker CS.
Yes. Collins, when we're talking about this debt management, we expect that the top office, which everybody now looks at and says, well, that is an economist in that office, will come and totally talk about these issues affecting the economy. And debt should be among its biggest. But Collins, we never see that.
Totally. And I want to implore the president to forget about the big four agenda. Talk about the debt that we have and corruption. Deal with those two things. And you have a big legacy that no one will ever try to wish it away.
Yes.
I mean, instead of coming up with new projects, and now everything that is happening in the government, you're saying money is being channeled towards big four agenda. When you don't even know what you're trying to achieve in big four agenda. You're saying money is being channeled to big four agenda, yet you're borrowing to facilitate affordable housing. Whereas that is one of the pillars of your big four agenda. We're talking about universal health care.
Yes.
And all the money that is in the health department comes from abroad, comes from the US. US is funding us totally. I mean, you cannot establish pillars that you want to see that they establish your legacy. That you don't have a roadmap on how to fully implement those pillars.
This question I have for you, Collins, there for this morning. I mean, everybody knows that World Bank has been talking to Kenya about the way it is that they should manage their loans, they should take care, isn't it? But now, as we know of it, they give us 75 billion to actually supplement our budget. Then why this turn around? I mean, if you are warning a country, Collins, about the way in which that they're managing their debt, but when in reality you should hold it back, we go to World Bank, and it was actually just a short period. Now remember, Rotich is scoring that within just 2 weeks. We proposed, we asked for it, it was given almost instantaneously. Then a month later, Vice President World Bank comes to Kenya, tells it, I don't like the way in which you are borrowing. You should take care. What do you read there, Collins?
I read politics, so much politics. But then equally, I think World Bank is out to help us.
Yes.
And in the fullness of time, they're going to give us sanctions with regards to us borrowing from them. They're going to deprive us from that right of just borrowing.
Yes.
They're giving us, but then they know the situation that you're in. They know if they don't help us, we are going to scuttle a lot of services that citizens require to be given out. And so that's why they even help us with money to supplement our budget, something that is so unprecedented. I've never seen a country which asks for money to supplement its budget.
But think about it, isn't it?
Yeah, we have an institution that is asked to raise, is given a target to reach, but then they cannot be able to realize that.
They can't get
They
there.
even came out to reduce that amount. we have a treasury that comes up with a lot of policies with regards to overtaxation of people.
Yes.
And you know, you cannot overtax Kenyans to prosperity. The other day, there was a circular to the effect that all parastatals should be able to return excesses, monies that they have in their accounts to the government. The government that is funding you is asking you to give them back money. I mean, it beats logic. It's like a company where shareholders need to be given dividends. And you know, the process of giving shareholders dividends, it's when you've realized profits.
Yes.
But then these parastatals have not realized profits. I mean, we're having a situation where a lot of SMEs are struggling. They cannot get loans from the banks because of the capital rate that is there.
Yes.
And yesterday I saw a member of parliament saying the president should return the clause back to parliament, and so that they can remove it. No one will come after him. I mean, because they've realized, in as much as it was a very great move for the big boys, the big banks and all that, the 16% cap rate, and it looked so fancy then.
Yes.
I mean, we've seen its effect now. It has scuttled the economy with regards to the SMEs being able to mash up and just to mushroom and grow.
Okay, Collins, this is another thing now. Everybody does know exactly what happened the other day. And if you were not actually informed, then you should know that what they did the other day, that is, there's this proposal that's going on within the Treasury.
Yeah.
We are going to cut or just expunge the law that says we cannot borrow more than 50% of our GDP.
Yeah.
And replace it with 9 trillion Kenyan shillings, Collins. Everybody knows that our domestic debt now stands at 48, is it 48%?
48.
Vis-a-vis 52%.
Yeah, 48.
External. That means that we are actually going to get to 50. We're going to reduce external debt more by actually borrowing internally more and more. Now, the question I'm asking you this morning, Collins, is that, okay, you realize you have no money, and there's this law that was institutionalized to protect your economy from excessive debt. But now you just come in and announce, wow, we're going to replace it with 9 trillion. What are we reading there? Why not 7? Why not 6? Why not 8? Why not 8.1? Why just 9 trillion?
I mean, you wonder why these guys are occupying office. In the past, I've tried to propose that we should impose a debt ceiling, where it cautions us from going up. But then I don't think it's even necessary in this country. We are not disciplined enough to follow that. Now, they've been able to realize that this clause that protects us from overborrowing, it's really hindering us.
Yes.
Increase it to 9 trillion. By the time you get to 2022, you'll have hit at least 8 trillion, and you tell them, I never even got to the limit. I mean, no,
it was pretty much within limit.
Not knowing that really we exceeded the limit when I was in office.
Yes.
You've even seen what KRA is doing.
Yes.
They said, let us reduce this target, we can be able to get this target. Because the target that was then, that legally, that was set and it was sound, that they should be able to work towards getting to that target. They realize they cannot get to that target.
They realize they
so they
cannot
reduced
get
it.
there. Yes.
Same to this, what is happening in the Treasury. They are realizing that we really need to move past this. And this is a hindrance for us. So extend it to 9 trillion so that we are cautioned within the law. That's what is happening. I mean, people are realizing that we are facing very difficult times.
Yes.
And the only way out for us as a country is really to keep borrowing. But then this law is an impediment to us keeping borrowing, and so let us extend it.
So let's extend it. And
it's a very bad.
And don't you think that is physical indiscipline? Should we put somebody to question?
Totally. And what I've always said is that we don't have a sound fiscal policy in this country, that we can be disciplined enough to follow it. We are saying, should we put anyone to question? I don't think we will have that person to carry the blame. Because if we throw the blame at Yatani, he'll say he's just a caretaker man. He's not even, he doesn't have all the reins of power. And if anything, he got things the way Rotich left them. We cannot even equally blame the president, though it's rightfully, he's supposed to be blamed. The buck stops with him. He'll keep saying, I had the powers, but then you asked me to donate the powers to other people, and I did donate powers to other individuals who are holding fort on my behalf, but then they failed, so you can as well go for them. I mean, it's unfortunate. But then I've always wondered whether this government is intentional about even our economy. From the parliament to even the presidency.
Yes.
I mean, look at what happened before even the passing of a division of revenue bill and the kind of sentiments and conversations that are coming from parliament as a whole institution. I mean, these are people who are not even aware of what is happening. These are people who are not intentional about our economy.
Yes.
They don't care how much is going where. They don't care. To them, what matters is the kind of situation that you are in at the moment.
It's interesting how, Collins, we should be talking about this morning, and I just want to go back to the screen and exactly tell you where we're coming from this morning. So we're talking about just our debt and internal and external borrowing. Now we should talk about the government's appetite for borrowing, okay, unquenched despite our debt. Now let's talk about it therefore, Collins. Now, this is going to be shocking to anybody listening therefore, that we actually borrow, if you look at the way we've been borrowing since May to date, that we actually borrow an average of 2.5 billion shillings a day. Think about that. All right, let's therefore talk about the loans. Now, we have 6 loans from May to August that are actually total to 305.6 billion shillings. Let's talk about them. Now, this is, now listen, this is where we get the cut. 47.4% increase just over the same period. If you go back a year, it's almost 50%. Good. We continue because back then we were doing an average of 208 billion shillings. If we go back a year, now we're talking about 305.6. Good. Now the Treasury indicated again that it will go into infrastructure projects, education, budget support, and refinancing the 2014 Euro bond. Now you don't know what we're talking about, the 219 billion. Good. Now, 4 of the 6 new loans got by government from May to 2019. Let's talk about them. Now, 3 of the loans had been dispersed at the time of talking about this report. So Friday, as we talk about it, actually these loans were already within the Kenyan economy. 3 of this. So we're waiting for 3 more to actually get done as well. Good. Now, one that stands out is that the value of one of the loans that have come in, that actually is between 93.4 billion shillings, all right? And this is to Citigroup Global Market. That's the first loan that was used in the Eurobond payment. So we have to look for 93.4 billion shillings to actually repay this money. Good. Now, another loan that will be dispersed in equal installments worth 300 million starting May 2025, that we have to get 300 million each year for us to actually settle this loan. This is a recap of exactly where we are calling this morning as we actually wait for the next loans to also come in. Good. Now, Collins, 2.5 billion shillings a day. Think about that, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it never stops because we are actually into the market for more. So it might be 3, might be 4, just a couple months to come, because we're actually even talking about raising the cap to 9 trillion.
Yeah.
So that means that our debt, we could be talking about 10 trillion just in a few months to come, just before we have this government get out of office. I mean, when you look at it, the talking point is that should we borrow money, number one, to go into infrastructure? Every of our loans seem to go into infrastructure, but the returns from infrastructure have never been here nor there. Number 2, education. Number 3, affordable housing. And then number 4, we're talking about cheap food. Is that?
And loans.
And loans. Oh, and refinancing of our loans.
Yeah.
Do you think that, Collins, that this should be the focus of our borrowing?
Not at all. In the past, they've always said that we are borrowing for projects, and I've seen what they've outlined. Maybe in education and in health is where they can get away with it. But in infrastructure, I mean, we live here. What infrastructure have we seen that we can say that it has been enhanced from loans? The other day when we were talking about the Eurobond, the first Eurobond, and they said it has been it was pumped into the into infrastructure and all that and the projects.
Yes.
The government could not point to one project that they were able to fund by that with that Eurobond. Apart from rhetorics that we've tarmacked at least 630 kilometers of road since we got into office, all that is too much politics and too much empty rhetorics. I mean, we've not seen tangible infrastructure that has been done by these loans that we've been borrowing.
Yes.
We are in a very dire situation where we are borrowing for things that we don't see. I mean, you'll be shocked that maybe you are borrowing to pay salaries for people, or you're borrowing for recurrent expenditure, only that we won't be told out that you're borrowing for this. So we'll hide behind all these projects. And I saw a circular suspending all the projects that have been initiated that are not in line
that
with
are
the Big
not
Four.
yet complete.
And they're not even yet complete. And we're told go slow on those projects until And we are still borrowing for those projects.
We're still borrowing for those projects, aren't we?
It's
Because we're
logic,
talking about
I mean,
infrastructure.
Sure.
That pretty much means the money is going into the project, unless we've been told there are new projects that are coming up.
And they say they're not going to launch new projects equally.
Yes.
Apart from
because
projects
those
that
are two conflicting statements.
Totally.
Is that we are not going to launch the new products within the economy unless we have the older projects settled.
Yeah.
Because we do expect that by now they would have been settled because we provided for them. And then you read when they're going into loans for the past 4 months, they're actually talking about infrastructure. Which ones?
SGR, the oil drilling, I don't think these things are going to finance our loans.
Yes.
Because we are not going to break even at all.
Yes.
With regards even to ownership of these projects, I mean, I'm sure we don't fully own these projects. Even, for instance, SGR and
I mean, everybody does know that.
Everyone knows
does know that.
And the oil in Turkana, we don't own these things totally. And so before we get to fully break even, maybe 2030. And so I don't think we are going to, these projects that we've invested in are going to see us get returns for them. Yeah.
Now, Collins, in the year ended June, we spent 826.2 billion in debt repayments. Now, I just want everybody to really understand where it is that we're coming from. KRA could actually have a target of 2.12 trillion, which, despite them saying, well, we're going to hit the numbers and then giving us an infrastructure on exactly how they're going to do it, we've seen exactly what is happening in the corporate sector. I mean, it is dead. NSC is no more. We're talking about the lowest points in a decade, which shows you that when it comes to corporate earnings, we are at our lowest levels. 92% of registered companies could not actually be able to file for their returns.
True.
And KRA has not told us exactly what they've done because they do know. You can go for them, but you're going to get nothing at the end of the day. If our target, which we're not going to meet, is 2.12 trillion, we're not going to meet it. And we are spending 826.2. But as it stands, this is going to cross into the 1.4 trillion mark. Once we factor in everything that it is about going for. So you ask yourself the question, if KRA over the other side has 2.12, but it's not going to make it, it's going to come to 1 point something. Everybody knows that.
You sure? I doubt.
We are hoping. And our debt is going to 1 point something trillion when it comes to debt repair. Are we talking about a situation where we collect money, but then we turn all of that money to pay our debt?
Totally. I think we are going to get into a position where we're going to suspend everything that is happening in this country, just focus on repayment of loans. So you've seen KRA has gone to almost all institutions that owe the government money. Now they've gone to public universities, and they're telling public universities, you have monies, I don't know, big monies, return them to the government. If you have money, if you have loans that have already matured and it's time for you to pay them, start paying your loans so that they can be able to realize money to cover up for their target. We've gone for all institutions that are doing well. If it's the brewery sector, if it's tobacco, we've gone for all of those industries and tried to overtax them. How they used to be taxed normally, we've overtaxed them so that we can at least get something to cover up for our targets. But we are not really addressing the issue that citizens, local citizens, are not be able to file returns. Same to the companies that cannot file returns because they are struggling. And I've talked about the cap rate that has been there. These companies cannot realize money. There's a lot of layoffs that is happening in a lot of these companies. If you see the reports at least every month, a lot of companies are releasing their employees not because that they are readjusting and the implementation of digitization in their operations, but because they cannot even pay salaries for those people.
Salaries for the employees.
So they are forced to let them go away. I mean, the holistic thing that we need to talk about is the economy, and it's struggling really. But then we have a caretaker man who is not even aware of what he's doing. We have a president who I don't know if he is aware of the economy that is happening in this country, whether he's an economist and all. I don't know.
Collins, you paint a grim picture this morning. I mean, everybody listening to you would wonder, therefore, what next? But guess what? We're talking about 6.3% growth of our economy. At least, why are we not feeling it then?
True. At least 35. An unborn child owes the government 35,000. You're not yet born, but you owe the government 35,000. You can imagine. Okay, why we are not really feeling it yet? I mean, I think this is a steady thing. It's a ticking time bomb. In the fullness of time, and I think sectors of this economy are feeling it. For instance, the corporate, they are feeling it. before, and even the common mwananchi is feeling it. Just few individuals who think it's normal, but maybe it's going to get bad. But in the fullness of time, I mean, it's going to hit us totally. But then, should we rush towards just readjusting this thing, or should we have a progressive realization towards redefining and readjusting our fiscal policy? I think we should have it progressively. And now we should talk about how we are going to really get to a place where we have sound fiscal policy.
Yes.
For instance, and something that we should take it as a first priority is access to information and participation of citizens as a constitutional right.
Yes.
And I mean, someone should move to court and sue the treasury for lack of public participation, rather for lack of access to information to citizens. Because you go to their website and really you cannot get important things about the loaning. You cannot get important things about the borrowing that is happening in this country. You cannot get important things about how we are going to be able to realize refinancing of these loans without asking for more money to pay for loans. You cannot get that in their website. And so that is one of that is a show that they are not following the access to information clause in the Constitution. So someone should move to court for that.
Now, Transparency International the other day actually did a march within the city center. I was privileged to be a part of the media team, and they said, look, one of our shortfalls when it comes to disseminating information, when it comes to corruption, when it comes to the success of the economy, number one is access to information. They asked people what it means to access information, what information, and how to get this information. You'll be surprised that even the biggest entities within the Kenyan economy who brave themselves and as understanding it, they said, we do not know. Question this morning is, do you know how many projects that the government is launching in your area alone, as in your county? How many are yet to be launched? In what way? Who's supposed to launch them? How much are they spending on them? The answer from you, I know, is directly no. I don't know. And that's exactly what is happening within the Kenyan economy. Now you do know. Your government is actually borrowing an average of 2.5 billion shillings a day. According to Collins, how that translates is that for that child who's not born, you already owe the government 35,000 Kenyan bob. Which pretty much means that after you're born, then the debt starts to increase as well. Something to think about. We take a short break. Once we come back, Sector Trends. Collins, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure, man.
Thank you.
As always.
Thank you.
The work that goes into preparation of a business story is special. It demands detail without
The SME contribution to the Kenyan economy is immense. Data, more data, right? According to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, nearly 400,000 SMEs. And how many died? 2.2 million? We have it.
Now to give you more perspective
On the state of SMEs in the country, we're joined live.
In 3, 2,
we're live. SME contribution to the Kenyan economy
Has immensely grown from 13% in 1993 to nearly 30% in the year 2018, according to the Central Bank of Kenya. Now, in a 2016 survey done by the Kenya National
My
Bureau
name
of
is Ndiro Ganga, and this is Metropol TV.
Why is it important to start your business defeat? Because business is demanding. Your body needs to be ready. Successful business persons always seek to help us before the money. So join me, Douglas Karanda, on Shape Up. Every day at 6 a.m. on Metropol TV.
From street to street. Tunaangazia biashara kadha wa kadha ambazo kwa na as little as 5,000 shillings unaweza anzisha biashara yako na igrow. And from these businesses, you can get an idea or two on how to boost your business. Haya basi, ishakuwa kipindi ni The Hustle na mi ni Tabitha Muthoni ndani ya Metropol TV.
There's no news story that is in touch with the needs of the audience like a business news story. Therefore, as a business anchor, it is in my mandate to understand the source of the story and, most importantly, consequences of the story. Which means before I take that script into my hands, I have to be close to the story. I have to experience the story. Or simply, I have to live the story.
It is Friday, the 5th of July 2019. It's 1 p.m. So welcome to Metropol News at 1.
My name is Nina Shaban.
When you hear the word business, what comes to mind? Skyscrapers, fast-moving economy, technology and innovation, dollar versus the shilling exchange rate, financial markets, or better still, the US versus China trade war? Is there a magic bullet that can spark Kenya into economic growth? How about this? How is Africa the next economic frontier? What does that even mean? Questions that keep popping up. Is foreign aid helping Africa develop, or rather is it stagnating it? Does good politics translate into economic development? Well, on Metropol Debrief, we break down business, telling you why it matters and showing you how and when it affects your bottom line. This and much more on the new season of Metropol Debrief at 8 p.m, where we're bold and balanced.
In journalism training, only 5 viewpoints matter for a proper story. My experience as a business journalist has, however, taught me that there is more. So now I understand that before I walk into that interview, I have to look for the hidden. So for me, what sticks is the story behind the story.
What would you say is that unique, very unique selling aspect that you can guarantee I will not find anywhere else?
Good question.
My name is Ingrid Nantege, and this is Metropol Television.
Hi guys. What does it take to run a business that succeeds?
What does an entrepreneur need to do for his business to scale up and outgrow his dreams?
What does a CEO need to know to make a decision?
What exactly makes the stocks move up and down?
Strategy, insights, innovation, growth, leadership, analysis. In an economy that's fast-moving, we are ahead of the game. Armed with data and analysis, we delve deep into the numbers that count, with analysis on key sector and company performance. Join me, Terry Chebet, on the first of its kind in East Africa, a show that unpacks industries, speaks to business leaders, decision makers, the movers and shakers who steer our economy. The Capital Point, at this time only on Metropol TV.